Let's go right now to the Middle East, to Abe Katsman, our man on the ground in Israel for America's Morning News, the U.S. attorney, the political commentator, the columnist for the American Thinker as well. Abe, welcome back, sir. How are you on this Thursday?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
We had a story yesterday that Israelis were lining up, sir, for gas masks. Is there any kind of concern there this morning that things might be progressing as far as the U.S. airstrike is concerned?
The feeling here is, well, I guess I'd start by saying I've got my gas mask ready. I think a lot of people do, but I think that most people here are feeling cautious, but on the whole confident in the ability of the Israeli Defense Forces to handle things. On the other hand, there's lots of speculation, there are a lot of moving parts, and there are no certainties. And in fact, if you take a look at the track record of predictions of what would happen in the Middle East, whether it has anything to do with the Arab Spring or the coup in Egypt, the Syrian civil war, even the use of chemical weapons, the record of the people who are doing the predicting has not been very good. So I think people are enjoying the exercise of speculating on all kinds of wild possibilities, but at the same time, they're slightly worried about that maybe things are not as in control as everybody thinks.
Well, given the word speculation as you use it here, does it appear that the majority of the Israelis do want some kind of military action against Syria right now?
Well, that's a very interesting question. On the one hand, there's the feeling that it is very dangerous to let a chemical attack go unanswered. Keep in mind, from America's perspective, this might be about what they're doing in Syria, but especially after President Obama and Secretary Kerry have taken their very hawkish positions and reinforced the red lines that they had talked about earlier, the rest of the region looks at this now as being about America, whether about America will act, whether it will follow through on its threats. And from Israel's perspective, that's incredibly important because if America does not, if the rest of the world perceives America as not following through on its threats, what conclusions are the Iranians going to draw? How much stock should Israel put in President Obama's red lines about the development of Iranian nuclear weapons? So I think that the thought in Israel is that America has positioned itself in such a way that it is going to have to respond.
What are the popularity levels of Barack Obama in Israel right now, especially when it comes to his foreign policy, sir? I know that obviously it's been a rough road for him with regard to Israeli policy and how we've all gotten along as two nations, especially our administration today. How do they feel about him today? Do they trust him when it comes to foreign policy?
I think there's unfortunately very little trust. I think that there is a desire that there be trust, but they've seen the track record. They've seen what appears to people here to be one mistake after another. Sometimes it can be in terms of handling Egypt, in terms of handling Syria. So even if people like him personally, if people he came here on a visit and said all the right things, pushed all the right buttons. That was good for his popularity, but when it comes to respect for his record, that's a different story, and it is low.
I don't need to remind everybody geographically the position that Israel is in, but I tell you what, that point never driven home like right now. I mean, you've got everything going on in Syria directly to the north, and then look at everything going on down in Egypt. I guess you're watching both places at the same time with much concern, are you not?
Yeah, you need 2 TV screens.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, if we can tell you anything this morning, and I'm sure you're learning about it there, because I know the UK has been very forceful in its rhetoric of late about some kind of response to this chemical weapons attack, but it looks like the Labour Party there has forced their prime minister to retreat over military action, and it appears that's what's happening in the United States right now, and I maybe shouldn't be using the word retreat because Barack Obama says he's going to do something sooner or later, but you've got John Boehner on Capitol Hill, the House Republican leader, saying, look, we want to be in the same situation as the British Parliament right now. We want to be able to discuss with you the various options towards Syria before we rush into anything. So it seems like things are on a standby right now, on a hold position, sir.
Yeah, that's what things look like, and especially now, today there are lots of reports at least in the Israeli press, about how the intelligence may not be as concrete as they thought it was. Apparently, lots of people in the American intelligence community are using the term slam dunk, as in it is no slam dunk that Assad actually was the one who used these weapons. So it may be that the president and the Secretary of State got out ahead of their intelligence. Again, it's all speculation. None of us really know. So many moving parts. Very difficult to have any definitive position on this, unless you're one of the people in the Situation Room.
Abe Katsman, you can follow him on Twitter at American Thinker, where he's a columnist, again, our man on the ground in Israel for America's Morning News. Abe, it sounds like you're right next door, sir. Thanks for joining us this morning, and you stay safe, sir.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.